Are you in the middle class? What does that even mean? The definition of middle class has changed so much, some people even claim that it doesn't exist anymore. Middle class is usually defined by occupation, income, and education. The Economist defines it as people who have roughly a third of their income left for discretionary spending. That means after you've paid your rent, you've paid for your food, what money do you have left over? If you make $100,000 a year, do you have $33,000 left to spend on extra, whatever you would like to spend it on? Well, that's how The Economist defines it. But to simplify it, I'm looking at the median salary, the middle value. That would be $74,000 a year. But even that $74,000 a year, that's not going to be enough if you want to buy a house, if you want to have a car, you want to have a family. Look at the price of daycare. It's outrageous in many cities across the country. Then you take into consideration inflation. This number, 74,000, it's going to be rapidly increasing. In a few years, it could easily be 100,000. Now, keep in mind, this is nationwide. The true median salary is going to depend on your exact location. A middle-class salary in Hattiesburg, Mississippi is $41,000 a year. And a middle-class salary in San Francisco, California is $136,000 a year. Now let's shift focus and look at federal government jobs. Can you be a part of the middle class working in a government job? Now, for this, I'm using the RUS pay scale, the rest of the United States. So I'm not taking into consideration that you live in a big city. This is just regular America. To earn $74K a year, you would need to be a GS-11, where the salary range is between $72,000 and $94,000 a year. This is in most places throughout the country. But if you're not making the $74,000 a year, it doesn't mean you're in lower class, because being in the lower class is usually defined as making $28,000 a year or less, which is what a GS2 earns. Some people take these categories a little bit further. They'll look at lower middle class, they'll look at upper middle class. The median salaries, they can all be found on the GS pay scale. Now, the good news is when you're looking below GS11, we're talking about GS9 and below. Usually for GS9 and below, those are considered entry-level jobs. And the reason for that is to get a GS9, you do not necessarily need experience. You could qualify for a GS9 on education only if you had a master's degree. So that would be an entry-level position for a person with a master's degree. If you have years of experience, 3, 4, 5 plus years of experience, you can come in a lot of times GS11, GS12, depending on your location. The next thing is, even if you are a GS9 or a GS11, it only takes 12 months time and grade before you're eligible to get promoted. And in a lot of these scenarios, you decide when you're ready for promotion because you're applying for the promotion. If you're in a GS11 position in one location, whether you want to stay there a year or 10 years, that's up to you. When you're ready for GS12, you only need 12 months time and grade. So after your first year, you could, in theory, start applying for the GS12 positions. And depending on your city, you can make a lot more money than what we just looked at on that pay scale. Take, for example, Washington, D.C. Right now for a GS15, you could earn over $190,000 a year, which most people would consider that is upper middle class. But it's not in this area. In fact, some people consider upper middle class in Northern Virginia to be $250,000 a year. The government doesn't usually pay a salary that high. Even if you look at the salaries of a level 1 SES, it comes in just shy of $250,000 a year. The federal government is the number 2 largest employer in this country. For the number 1, you would have to look at Walmart. Walmart employs 2.3 million people. The government is currently at 2.2 million people. But when you're looking at the middle class, I'm not really looking at Walmart. I think the federal government is the bedrock of the middle class. Not necessarily lower middle or upper middle, but firmly right in the middle. Now, I understand it's not for everyone. If you can make more money in the private sector with your skill set, then it might make sense to go and earn more money. But you should at least consider it, because even if you're making more money, are you getting the same benefits? And the number one benefit that I know you're not getting if you work in the private sector is you're not getting a pension. And that means you do not have guaranteed income for the rest of your life. You have a 401k, you have an IRA maybe, you have some stocks. But what's going to happen with the stock market? I don't know. You don't know. Economic uncertainty seems to be around every corner these days. There is a sense of peace when you're talking about financial security that comes along with a federal pension. This is especially the case if you're sitting in a job right now, you're making $40,000, $50,000, $55,000 a year. There's no room for upward mobility. What are you going to do for the next 10 years? Are you still going to be pulling that $50,000, $55,000 a year salary? Do you already have a few years of experience? Do you have 5+ years of experience? There could be a lot better opportunities in the public sector in a federal government job. It's worth taking a look. If you are considering or looking to get a federal government job, you need to understand the federal hiring process, the sequential steps that you are expected to go through. There's quite a few of them. If you're interested in that, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.